What's up, everybody? King of Fomo here, coming at you with your daily crypto update. So I just recently made a TikTok, so I'm going to try and be pushing that out a little bit more, just to force myself to try to make videos on it. So make sure you're following my TikTok. The link will be in the description below, as well as my podcast, which will also be linked below for you guys as well. Today we're going to be talking about the price of Bitcoin and Ethereum reaching some monumental highs. So I'm going to look out a little bit more long term. I know in this channel and just in general, a lot of people look at cryptocurrency and they only really think, out a couple weeks or a couple months, if not a year. But we're going to look at maybe 2 years or longer. And that amount of time can be longer, it can be shorter, depending on how things move around here. But specifically, we're going to be focusing on Bitcoin and Ethereum. So the price numbers that we're going to take a look at right now, just so you guys know, and then I'll show you guys how I got those numbers. Bitcoin, we can look at Bitcoin hitting $300,000. That's kind of what I did my TikTok video about, just talking about it for 1 minute. But we'll go a little bit deeper in this video about how can Bitcoin reach $300,000? Can it get there in a short period of time? And Ethereum, a new projection. I was pretty spot on. A few weeks ago when Ethereum was hovering around maybe $600, I said it's going to get to $2,000 pretty quickly here, and we're already getting to close to about $1,000. And I do think that it's definitely probably going to reach $2,000 by the end of the year, most likely sooner rather than later, because there's a lot of stuff we can get into Ethereum about as well. But a new projection for that number for Ethereum could be seeing at somewhere around about $5,000 if we're looking at Ethereum potentially overtaking Bitcoin. So we'll talk about that as well. Can Ethereum take the #1 spot? This is something that I think that is in the realm of possibility. Bitcoin, I don't think it's going to be #1 forever, and I think that sooner rather than later, people are going to start to see some differences with Bitcoin and Ethereum switching spots. So first of all, the one thing that we can take a look at is the Bitcoin statistics. So right now, the trends for Bitcoin being searched in the Google search engine is pretty high right now, but not as high as it was in 2017. And a lot of people look at this and they correlate the search term for Bitcoin, the pump of 2017, and then the subsequent major 40 to 50% dump after that. Is what people are afraid of. So this is one of the indicators that people are looking at in terms of looking for a top for Bitcoin. And since we are not even close to where those trending, top levels for Bitcoin was before, I think that we are not even close to a top quite yet for Bitcoin. We could definitely see Bitcoin hit $50,000 pretty easily, if not even higher than that. But of course, this is a very volatile space. It can go down in any moment as well. It doesn't have to reach these numbers as it was in 2017 before we see a retracement. But I honestly don't think that we're going to retrace to the 1000s anymore. So other things that we're going to take a look at here, we're going to start with Bitcoin before we get to Ethereum, this $300,000 amount. And I went over this in the TikTok video, but Bitcoin's market cap currently right now is about $600 billion, which is pretty crazy. It's extremely high. And I know that generally people that watch this channel are not anti-Bitcoin, but there are some people out there that say Bitcoin is, funny money. It's not going to do anything. It's going to crash eventually. It's a bubble, that kind of thing. But in reality, you really should be looking at how is Bitcoin performing compared to other assets in the world. And one thing that I'm looking at right here, this is called companies market cap. This is the top companies in the entire world and what their market caps are. And we can see that Apple has a market cap of $2 trillion. That's higher than all of cryptocurrency. And same with about 9 of these other companies. We have Microsoft on here, Amazon, Google or Alphabet, Facebook, Tesla, Tencent, all these companies I'm sure that you've heard of. These are some giant companies that have tons and tons of money pumped inside of them. And our top 5 are in the $1 trillion market cap. While if we go ahead and take back a look at Bitcoin right here, Bitcoin's still in the $1 billion market cap. Bitcoin will have to hit about double before it gets to $1 trillion market cap, which means seeing $60,000 for a Bitcoin price is in the realm of possibility once it doubles up again. Now, where is Bitcoin right now compared to the rest of these companies? Bitcoin would be sitting at right about here in spot number 10 for all these companies. So at the $600 million market cap, right below Alibaba, right below Tesla, which had a meteoric rise in the past couple of years. I mean, you can kind of put Tesla and Bitcoin side by side and see how they did so well in the past couple of years. And, the results are uncanny right there. But nonetheless, putting it at spot number 10, I think that Bitcoin Bitcoin definitely has a contending spot for a top 5 once it hits the $1 trillion market cap. And another thing to note here is if you just look at the top 10 companies, almost all of these companies are technology-based companies. Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Google, Facebook, even to an extent Tesla and Tencent, and definitely Alibaba. Some of these are commerce websites like Amazon and Alibaba, and some of these are technology-based companies like Apple and Microsoft. And Bitcoin kind of fits hand in hand with all of that. Bitcoin is a cryptocurrency built on the internet, technology, kind of the next level of technology. As you know, you have to be able to look at this and say, yeah, well, the companies of the past, your big oil companies, things like that, are kind of falling behind compared to technology and the growth that technology is happening. And Bitcoin is definitely in its infancy, I believe, in terms of how far it can go. So that's one way to look at it. So if Bitcoin does reach the same level of Apple, which is $2 trillion, then we could look at a price of Bitcoin hitting at about, let's actually take a look at this. So about maybe $60,000 to $120,000 per Bitcoin. That's if it reaches the same market cap of Apple and becomes, the top company, quote unquote. But looking at Bitcoin as a company doesn't really make that much sense because it's it's easier to compare it to a commodity or to a currency rather than a company. They don't actually, do anything. A lot of people say that Bitcoin, what does it do? It doesn't do anything. Well, yeah, it doesn't really do anything. The same as, gold and silver don't really do anything either. Now, Bitcoin is an improved version of gold. I'm sure you can watch tons of other videos about why Bitcoin is better than gold. But gold is sort of a thing of the past, especially with the technology boom. It doesn't really make sense to have gold be the standard for currency anymore. Whether it's Bitcoin or something else, it makes more sense to have... Well, I'm not going to get into that. That's actually a whole separate video. But gold and Bitcoin are better comparisons to make rather than looking at something like these companies like Apple and Google. So if Bitcoin does kind of take the next level, take the next standard in terms of currency and goes side by side or even just halfway below the US dollar or, just currency in general, we're looking at a $6 trillion market cap for Bitcoin, which could put it at that $300,000 mark. $300,000 per Bitcoin would be a market cap of about $6 trillion. It's 10 times what it is right here. So is that attainable? Well, I think it definitely is attainable as Bitcoin potentially replaces gold. Now, I'm not really going to go that far and say Bitcoin's going to replace gold, but I do think that digital currency eventually will replace gold. But if Bitcoin does become that digital currency that starts to do that, then we can see a $6 trillion market cap in our lifetimes. It's not going to be like 100 years away that kind of thing does happen. So, is Bitcoin reaching $300,000 possible? Why, yes, it most certainly is. And even if you want to say that Bitcoin's better than gold, if it increases beyond gold, putting it at a $12 trillion market cap would put Bitcoin at about $600,000, and you're looking in the realm of millions of dollars per Bitcoin if you're going to go beyond that and you account for inflation and you account for other things over the next 10 or 15 years. So that is a realistic prediction for what Bitcoin can do. Now, looking at Ethereum, same deal with this one. Ethereum's sitting at close to about $1,000. Now, again, we're looking far into the future. I'm not saying this is going to happen next week or this year or anything like that. But Ethereum, I think, is a contender to replace Bitcoin because Bitcoin is the archaic cryptocurrency. It doesn't really do anything. And I do think that definitely within the next 10 or 15 years, something is going to come out, or something that is out right now is going to replace Bitcoin and be a better standard of cryptocurrency. And Ethereum, I think, is definitely the number one contender out of all of these other cryptocurrencies. It's not necessarily the best, but due to the fact that it has the highest adoption and it's got a lot more going on with it than any other coin, you have a lot more eyeballs on it. I think that institutions are way more likely to jump into Ethereum next rather than to really touch any other untested cryptocurrency. So I think that Ethereum is definitely, at least at this moment, the number one contender to take the top spot from Bitcoin. So that's where we're getting these next numbers for Ethereum. Ethereum is sitting at about $1,000 right now with a market cap of about $100 billion. So at $1,000, we can match Bitcoin and get that to the same levels as Bitcoin. By multiplying that by 6 and seeing that at about a $6,000 price for a $600 million market cap. Now, obviously, it's going to take some time. Honestly, I don't think it's going to take that much time, but it's going to take some time for it to get to those levels. And it's going to take some luck as well, because Ethereum and Bitcoin kind of do move in tandem at some times. So in order for Ethereum to overtake Bitcoin, it would need to have a run while Bitcoin either stays still or starts going backwards. They can't really one needs to catch up to the other. But I think with Ethereum getting Ethereum 2.0 rolled out within the next about 2 years, I think that we can definitely see a potential of Ethereum taking the #1 spot from Bitcoin in the next 1 to 2 years, which will be a very, very interesting time for crypto in itself, if everything with Ethereum 2.0 rolls out properly. Now, again, I think that a $5,000 mark is a pretty safe mark if you're looking to kind of be on that side of the fence to say that Ethereum is going to be a really, really close contender to Bitcoin. Because right now, even though it's about 6 times away, that gap is closing by the day, by the week. And I think that as we get to the end of the year, for sure, Ethereum is, to me, like I am holding, I'd rather be holding way more Ethereum than Bitcoin at the current moment, because I think it has a much more potential to grow. Bitcoin is a nice ramp for institutions and people to start using cryptocurrency. And then I think that as the word and buzz generates for, hey, this second cryptocurrency, Ethereum actually does a lot more than Bitcoin. Once that ball starts to get rolling, that's when things are going to get really interesting in the crypto space, as far as Ethereum potentially taking the top spot from Bitcoin. But again, you guys can look at all kinds of numbers like this to really educate yourself and make your own decision. This is not a advertisement to tell you to buy Bitcoin or sell Bitcoin or anything like that. It's mainly just education for you guys. So again, looking at even silver, I think that Bitcoin can overtake silver probably pretty easily with a $1.4 trillion market cap for silver. I think that once this happens, it's going to be a crazy, crazy time, because you have a lot of people that are just writing Bitcoin off and saying that gold and silver are better. But we're getting to the point right now where Bitcoin is very close to actually being more expensive than silver overall, having a higher market cap than silver. And that's going to be really interesting. And that's not that far away. That's only about maybe double the price of what Bitcoin's at right now, about $60,000. So we could see that even by the end of the year. Or it could be even longer than that. So that's everything for today, guys. I just wanted to give you guys a longer look and just a different perspective at looking at Bitcoin and Ethereum, because I know that most people really just look at these coins for like a week or 2 weeks out, or maybe a month or a year out, and it's harder to predict, especially in the middle of a bull market, where these things can go, what prices can go. A lot of people will throw numbers out there, but I try to look at, like, where do these numbers come from? Is it possible that Bitcoin can get to $1 million? Yes, but it has to reach all of these other goals. It has to pass gold. There has to be probably a ton of inflation, all kinds of stuff like that. So that's everything for today, guys. Like, comment, subscribe, follow my TikTok channel, my Telegram channel, and my podcast if you aren't yet. And I'll hopefully be making more content on all that stuff. Just a side note, it takes me about an hour and a half to make that 1-minute TikTok video. But I remember when I started this YouTube channel, it was the same deal. It's a learning curve to get started with this stuff. If you guys are ever interested in making crypto videos, I think it's worth it. After you really get past that initial hump of learning how to do the videos, it gets a lot faster. So I'm in that hump right now for TikTok. We'll see if I decide to stick with it or if I decide to give up. All right, guys, I'll catch you in the next video. Peace out.